Alright. Welcome back again to Dishonored. I'm just gonna let this cutscene play.
This is the Hound Pits Pub. Closed for business. Half the district marked off as dead from the plague. We're right under the Lord Regent's nose, and he don't know a thing. Of course, if anyone finds out what we're up to, the Watch will break in with swords drawn. And now that you've escaped, the Lord Regent's going to be tearing the city apart. Take you up to meet Admiral Havelock and the rest of the Loyalists. The Admiral's a man to be reckoned with. If anyone can help you find that missing girl, Lady Emily, and clear your name, he can.
Alright. So hi again. Welcome back to Dishonored. I know last stream and last episode was a bit of a mess. But hopefully this time will be a little bit better. It's not 100%. I'm sorry if I sound weird. My throat has just been hurting a bit today. Alright. So just fourth. This is the fourth episode, and I have of course only just now completed the intro missions, and I'm playthroughing this with no kills. And I save and load
Attention all
a
citizens.
lot.
Curfew extends from sundown to sunrise unless you are otherwise authorized. Violators will be subject to interrogation and detained when necessary. Remember, the boldest measures are the safest.
Alright. Interesting. I think I was supposed to go through that. But to be honest, I kind of want to see what's going on. So, from book concern, at the end of every year, last day of the month of songs, we begin the Fugue Feast. The new year has not started, and thus the time that follows is outside the calendar. A period of celebration and feasting begins, during which the people abandon the very practices that keep them whole and healthy over the year. Many leave their homes, euphoric with spirits or potent herbs. Some paint their faces or wear masks to conceal themselves as they peruse their passions without reservation. When the right cosmological signs are observed, and it's time for the calendar to begin anew, the sitting high overseer calls for the hymn of atonement. The Fugue Feast ends. Families return to their homes, wives to their husbands, enemies put down their weapons, and fires are extinguished. No complaint is given for those who have wronged others, defire from ancient clothes, or discarded oaths. This time during the astrological alignment does not exist and is not recorded. The following day starts the new year, marked on the first day of the month of Earth, as it has always been. So they have like a season-long purge? Really? My stomach twisted as the engines of the odd vessel roared louder. It was a creation of Orcando, third perfect from the enemy of natural philosophy. He was exhilarated, savoring each of the small craft's undulations. Piero pulled the lever, and a great gout of smoke surrounded us. The smell of burning whale oil grew unbearable as the machine propelled itself upward. I was too afraid to look through the window, which suddenly didn't feel thick enough. As if knowing my thoughts, Overseer Brian looked at me and smiled. Recite some of the litany, my pupil. It will protect your heart from the turpitude of the void on our way to the outer spheres. The outer spheres. What? Space travel? Practice of the Abbey. Once a child shows the proper inclination, he is marked. Overseers are assigned to study the subject. I don't know that word. In order to determine whether this inclination is supported by cosmological conditions and other signs ongoing throughout the year. At the end of the cycle, these befitting further testing are removed from their homes some hours before dawn. Must begin the march to an outpost outside the city. There, the children undergo ritual preparation and evaluation till the last night of the month of rain, where they make pilgrimage to White Cliff during an elaborate ceremony as determine which of the children will become overseers and which must be pointed down. You know, I read a bit about the Outsider before I started all this, and the Void. And so they said how the Void creates a new host. It can sometimes be thousands of years before one of them dies and thousands of years before one is picked. Yet, throughout of it, multiple people may still worship them, even when they've been dead for centuries. Partly because time is non-existent. Which is a very, I don't know, played out the right word? It's very, common, I guess would be the right word.
My furnishings have been installed at last with no small amount of complaining by that antiquated boatman. The others have no idea what it's like to suffer as I have. Speaking of which... Wallace! Please breathe 2 bottles of Dunwall Red, never mind which, and fetch a clean glass. Well, I'll begin again tomorrow.
Uses a punch card system? All the technology of this game completely confuses me and intrigues me. Except for the travel journal of a young whaler, Godfrey Taylor. My sister Neil and I left Tilvia together, saying goodbye to our aunt, the woman who had raised us since childhood, leaving behind our evil city of Yarrow and the cold but beautiful white landscapes we had always known. We boarded a ship for Dunwall. Our parents had left us with a sizable inheritance, and we spent half of this getting to the capital city and establishing a small import shop dedicated to Tivian furs. Once I'd helped Nita establish business, I was free to pursue my dream. Signing on with a whaling ship was the most exciting thing I'd ever done, and I saw it as a means to an end. Someday I would captain my own crew and eventually own a fleet of similar vessels. With tears in her eyes, Nia kissed me farewell, and I did not see her again for many months. As an apprentice to the gaffer, I got to see the tracking and killing of the great beasts up close. Nothing had ever fired my spirit so as the wind and pounding waves raced after a wounded whale, being pulled by a skein of cables embedded in its thick flesh. I changed more in these first 7 months than I had in the previous 7 years. Whaling was beginning to put its mark on me, so that nearly barely recognized me when I returned, tanned and swimming with muscle, weathered cresses already wrinkling the corners of my eyes, but she could see that I was filled with joy, having found my purpose. Very strange. Naval history. While each of the isles has some form of naval fleet, none is more invited than that of Bristol, with its long, proud history of great ships and the admirals who command them. Boys come of age in the city's Grisdall, hoping to someday be captains. Such a ship and family dynasties are made by those captains who track down infamous pirates or crush tedious uprisings, as during the Morley insurrection. In times of war and peace, Grisdall continues to innovate at sea. The ship designs of Anton Stoic himself now represent the highest standard in the whaling trade, allowing crews to haul their kill up over the deck and begin their butchery and processing even as the ship returns to Dunwall. The crews can be seen working on their latest whale, slowly up the Rurnhaven River. Coming to the dock with one of the powerful warehouse companies such as Graven's Welding House, suspended in the rigging overhead and backlit by the setting sun. The silhouette of one of these creatures makes a moving sight as it cruises to its final resting place in the industrial heart of the capital city. Okay. It has been days since men would dispatch weapons for Corvo in the old sewer. They have not returned, so I can only hope they succeeded in getting packages delivered. Gary has spent considerable time and resources making those things. If I could find a way to mass produce them, the Dunwall Navy would secure its place as the dominant force on the globe. But back to Corvo. Can he actually break out Cornish, and if so, will he make his way here, or possibly give him odds of 1 in 5? So I was freed by the Navy?
Log entry 1-4. It seems we have moved to a new phase. Martin's improvisations have borne fruit. The former bodyguard has been freed and is en route to the staging location. Pendleton's voting block and my military connections. All we've lacked is the ability to project lethal force in a controlled manner against a previously inaccessible... to the point, we need a man who can kill the bastards for us. Corvo is more than capable of that, I have no doubt. N-bomb. Is this off? Switch. Switch, where the hell is the...
I love this. This is the first time I've seen
landing in
someone.
the distillery district due to risk of infectious contact. Violator.
My, you must be Corvo.
Sorry, I need to read a book. Separate from a series of episodes. As I say to you, brothers, it is here that we make our stand as a righteous force against the growing darkness. It is here that we unite against the spirits of the unknown that would drag us screaming into the night, never to return to our homes, to our families. Together we will serve as a rod to those who would stray from the herd, for the foggy gray wastes of the outsider. We will burn a bright fire with our virtuous actions so that others will not lose their way. To those who choose to wander beyond the walls of our homes and far places, we will strike them swiftly before they whisper to the neighbors, filling their hearts with strangeness and doubt.
I'm Lydia, at your service. Your room is upstairs and ready. When they told me who it was, well, I thought you'd be older, like the Admiral.
Shadowed bitterly, finding my way by feeble light of the dying fire. Saw her working. A large needle moved in her hand, following precise, exerted patterns, knots, and loops of seamstress craft from ancient days. Beneath her needle, his body clenched and shuddered, shaking the wooden table. A morbid fascination pulled me closer until she turned her blank face toward me, resting the needle in the flesh of fire. She addressed me. So you are the lover, I presume. You two have been unfaithful, and it's your turn to be mended. Ugh. Theater play. Lord Nathan Barrow, shaking with outrage. How dare you, sir, close so in my very home? Should hand you over to the watch, depraved to evil. Prince Carol moving closer. That is a harsh welcome for royalty, my lord. Your daughter treated me with much more hospitality. Alas, she has gone out for the evening, leaving me all alone. He stuttering the young man before him. What are you doing? Leave the veil, rascal. Said the Corbridge. There's no need for it, Lord. It's so wrong, me. As a proven, I've developed for you and my family. Your skin is so warm it burns. Weird. Okay. Gas on passes. After more than a quarter of a century, I'm done with whaling. Too broken to continue. I've seen all the corners of the isles, made more coin than most men see in a lifetime, but it's all gone. I've lived through an empire and watched his daughter take the throne. Fair young empress she was, but slain so young. Everything beautiful comes to die. Feet in every port of the known world, sail to the loneliest waters you can imagine. I've seen the cliffs around Pandaria. Even the best of it doesn't give me an ounce of joy. The years come back across my dreams as a line of butchered bodies, long sleep and singing among the waterways of the moonlight. And be speared by ugly, weathered, scarier men who knife each other for a good pair of boots. Each year, I had less time to come home. My tongue forgot the language of small chatter, and those who lived in the cities thought me odd. My sister and I hardly knew to say to me during our visits. When she lost her business to the Lord Rhea's crooked barrister, I was 100 miles east of Marley, gaff hand frozen from the sleet as we tracked the first bull whale we'd seen in months. I helped her as I could, but nearly died in the early days of the plague. None of it mattered. If I'm jaded and bitter, it's because this industry has taken away my dreams. The world has beaten me. How long was I in prison? Because I thought it was like the same day. But they wrote and published a book. So it had to be at least a couple months.
Do not attempt to house or care for a friend or family member who shows signs of blood on their face and chest area. The only way to help them is to bring them to the City Watch. They will be taken to the flooded district for treatment.
Why do I get the feeling that treatment means kill? Okay, that's that area explored. Is there anything else over here? Ooh. All right. Haha! Indonesia. At the Academy of Natural Philosophy, they speak of the Pendasian continent as a place of wonder where all of life has intertwined and blossomed across eons, producing a vibrant, ecological, unrivaled in the civilized world. The overseers from the Abbey of Everyman, by contrast, talk of horrors and heresies, of cults, of submen engaged in brutal, perverse rituals. The few who have traveled to the far corner but come back to the islands, those who have actually touched the soil there, have returned with notes that describe vast deserts, deep jungles, and outlandish creatures that defy belief. Once in a generation, great efforts mounted to build a colony there in hopes of this someday growing to port city to rival them once up, but today these steps have all ended in madness and failure. I'm trying to get everything I can, so this episode will probably be very boring.
I expect they're hard at work in there. Best join them. They'll help you get whoever really killed the Empress. I'm sure the Admiral was anxious to meet you. It wasn't easy getting you here.
Attention, Dunwall citizens. Be advised, the river crust infestation has spread downriver.
Interesting.
Do not attempt to approach or destroy a river crust. Any items recovered from doing so are considered state property.
Alright. don't know how far I'm supposed to go.
Attention Dunwall citizens. Lady Emily Caldwell was abducted 6 months ago during her mother's terrible murder.
Oh, so I've been in prison for 6 months.
The location or return of the daughter of our beloved late Empress is required to speak to the City Watch at once.
Okay.
Welcome to the Hound Pits Pub, sir. How may I help you?
Hello, sir. I am Wallace, and this is Cecilia. We have been informed of your arrival and will do our best to stay out of your way while you conduct your business.
Yes. Lydia's a servant here as well. The Admiral served in the Navy under the Empress. But something happened with the Lord Regent that drove the Admiral
If I
out.
may, I am the personal
understand it
assistant to
right.
Lord Pendleton, and one of the senior servants at Pendleton House, as was my father. Now I am entrusted with this house, the home of the Loyalists. I have never seen the Admiral fail at any venture. If order can be restored to the city of Dunwall, I believe he can do it. If anyone can get your old life back, it's him.
Alright. Okay. Weird. Very weird.
We can continue this later, Lord Pendleton. The man of the hour is here. Corvo, I'm Admiral Havelock.
Hi.
A true servant of the Empire, like you.
Okay.
Until the Lord Regent purged those of us who wouldn't recognize his claim on the throne.
And I'm Lord Trevor Pendleton. I represent the nobility in our little group. But we all act as equals here at the Hound Pits Pub.
This is a momentous occasion, Corvo. I'm going to come out with it. We've been building a coalition of loyalists, aimed at ending the Lord Regent's tyranny and restoring the throne.
At risk of execution, we're committed to finding young Lady Emily and seeing her crowned as Empress.
We've got big plans, but we can't do any of it without you. We need your skills, your ability in a fight, and in helping us, we're going to help you destroy the men who murdered the Empress.
Sorry, you must be exhausted. We can discuss this further after you've recovered. But before you retire, you should introduce yourself to Piero. He's challenging at times, but his industrious mind buys him that right.
Alright.
Yes, Piero's as much an artist as a technician. He's going to be crafting the gear you'll need.
Pleased to meet you, Master Corvo. I saw you at court in
Talk more when you've rested.
happier days, but you might not remember. I was once a close ally to the Lord Regent, Hiram Burroughs, back when he was just the spy master. He's one manipulative bastard, I can tell you that.
Good to have you with us, Corvo. Nothing again. Have you talked to Piero yet? He made the weapons we left for you on your way out of Coleridge Prison. Go see him when you can.
Okay. I have 115 coins, so my coin carries over.
Attention, citizens of Dunwall. The Old Port District has been added to the evacuation list. The Weeper count for the month of siege has increased. The Lord Regent has decreed that plague ordinances will remain in effect through the month of rain. Stay alert and stay loyal.
How just happened? Blood from the eyes. Nice. I forgot to.
I'll be crafting your weapons and gear. All custom work. For you, I will create the tools of a master assassin.
Alright.
No! This cannot happen now the tank of whale oil is running. Will you get a new tank from upstairs, please, while I hold this in place? Be careful. The oil's unstable. When it explodes, there is a terrible mess.
Okay.
The dispenser upstairs will provide you with a fresh tank of whale oil. They're heavy, but you are no doubt strong enough to carry one back down here, if you would.
I don't know why I find that so funny. The advantages of Solvac technologies is that they share the same magnetic socket for the tanks that process whale oil. They use a few. When a tank is exhausted, another can be plugged in. Placed with ease, and the process is simple enough that any common workman or even the lower guardsmen of the city watch can handle the task. This applies to the arc pillion and wall of light security systems, as well as the powered carriages used for transport by those few who are wealthy enough to afford them. The only obvious downside of current designs is the volatility of the tanks themselves. Few incidents have occurred, resulting in damage to property or bodily harm whenever the tanks have exploded. Okay then. It is through no fault of my own that the average citizen expressed a preference for Silver's elixir over my own formula. Sold as Piero's remedy, a name that I did not choose. If you must know the truth, the public has spoken its usual message of idiocy, spending their coin as a means of selecting Solveig's formula of mine, which I believe to be equal, if not superior. Much has been made of the popularity of these concoctions, means of resisting this remarkable new plague. I say remarkable because the strain works with an efficiency we have not seen in the history of the Empire. This plague, now making its way through the city of Dunwall, is unrivaled in its effects. I have studied it with the blood of those so inflicted, and is nearly perfect, elegant in fact. While it's true that Piero's remedy and Skull's elixir are known to protect the body against the plague equally, my own has properties not fully understood, which relate to the mind itself and the spirit. And it is in this way that my formula wins out. Here is where one should pay attention to this contest. You see Solveig's elixir with its emphasis on the brute animal body, its crass group better suited for livestock. The subtle and secret variance in the key ingredients making up Piero's remedy ensure that it works on higher functions that separate humankind from the monolith's blue-jawed hagfish swimming in the Wernhaven River. Here I know I will not sign off on the purchases. A bag of powdered crystal, serving your own what's wrong with the metals in Gristalv. King Sparrow feathers, if you need feathers, sacrifice your own pillow. Maybe at the academy, everything you needed was paid for by Terror and handed out willingly, but this is my bar, or what's left of it, and we're operating on a budget. We're running low on oil, food, elixir, building materials, and everything else, so you've got to slow down. While I'm footing the bill, I will not approve your purchases unless they're absolutely required. No more copper wire, or especially herbs. If you need these things, go out and scavenge them. Half the city's in ruins, so no one is going to miss any of the odd crap you seem to need. Okay. Alright. New maintenance required procedures. Commissioned by the Lord Regent in the face of the growing prey crisis, the dead counter is a position that will only be given to officers, usually of junior or middle grades, in most matters of edict or crew for enforcement. These officers defer to the acting officer on duty. However, any dead counter will have command in situations related to the plague, the handling of dead, including those with late-stage plague symptoms called weepers and common paralites. Starting in the month of rain, interested officers may apply for the test, and if accepted for the 2-week training tour, pay will be administered in coin rations of elixir at 1 1/2 normal pay grade. Failed experiments. Of course, I've attempted to improve upon Solo's designs. Of course, and why not? After all, it is likely that his thinking was influenced in some small way by our time together at the Academy. We're all part of a community, striving to unknow the mysteries of the cosmos. Even those among us who possess the greatest minds are often led to a fruitful line of consideration by, how does one say it, our intellectual subordinates. However, there's no exception to this, despite the glamour of genius he has cast over the aristocracy. Further, it is true that many of my experiments have failed. No need to gossip it behind my back, in your social clubs, and in the very chamber of the Academy itself. Great ambition requires wisdom. You may laugh at my door to nowhere. Someday you will not. Children will likely see it as commonality, as you see the electric lamps lighting the streets at night. But a few short years ago, you would have laughed at Slovik's arc, pylon, or wall of light. Your laughter, your condoned smiles are nothing but evidence of your own limited imagination. Alright. Well, vivisection. Remarkably, each best friend had the pleasure of studying during the voyage possessed some minor variance in physiologically. On the second leg of the trip, East of Tiveri, the crew hauled aboard a female some 42 in length. I estimated she weighed 35 tons, and the ship sat low, rocking side to side through the night with her thrashing. By candlelight, I took her apart, sketching and taking notes against her bellowing, and cut into the massive tendrils around her mouth. Within, I found row upon row of teeth, a bar running along the upper jaw. Through its broom-like structure, I assumed she filtered food from the water that was too small to be chewed. Interesting. At sea, they secure the beast with hooks, with lines cast from main ship and from several smaller boats. Buoys keep the whale from diving deep. Once it's caught, a larger hook is driven through the tail, which is used to hoist the creature up through the chute. They moan and bellow for some time as the men get them onto the deck and lift them into the scaffolding overhead. The ship is just as proud, turns to port in Dumbo, where the crew works on this great creature, siphoning out the fattest parts while it still lives. Gross. No longer has the upper hand when it comes to supplies of whale. The good Admiral has paid for the installation of my own system, was unable to be working in this place. A dispenser will not to produce an empty vessel for filling. When the empty tank is held near, they will take the filling magistrate to take the tank and lock it into the correct the filling process. Once the filling is completed, the tank will be removed and placed in service. Extreme customers be handling the flows. They require simple sound and well engineered. Appeals to the degree so the company has done something correctly for once. Okay. So I'm almost gonna end this. But first, we're going to listen to this and then put in the ale tour.
Teaches that absurd idea that the energy in whale oil arises from the need to maintain life functions at extreme ocean depths. The pressure and the cold are too much to endure without it. To see if the formulation of energetic substances develop. Surely the Empress would be able to furnish me with facilities, subject and the necessary legal amnesty.
Alright. So he's a bit crazy.
Perfect. Now plug it in. Just get it near the receptacle. Perfect. Thank you, Cole. Here, see? The assassin's mask. You're a wanted man, so everyone in the city knows your face, but this mask will mean terror to them. If you just hold still, the fit must be precise. There. Can you see normally? Lens out of alignment. There. Better now? I could create more for you. Upgrades for your gear, weapons, munitions. But our situation here is desperate. Scavenge the city for valuables and I will resell them on the black market. That should give us the money to craft the things you need. Tell me what I can make for you.
Crossbow, sleep-drill bullet, spring razor, rewire tool. Upgrades.
You must be exhausted. I advise that you get some sleep. Your life will get even more difficult soon. You should rest while you can. Very well. You know best. Let me know if you need anything more.
Okay. Okay, there we go. So, I'm enjoying this. And I'm sorry this was mainly me reading. But, yeah. And like I said, throughout the week, I'm going to stream Dishonored every day, as I have been. It's only going to be in 30 minutes, like this is, because that's what works best for me right now. And it doesn't leave me feeling burned out. Because I did the Minecraft ones for 2-3 hours, and each time I didn't feel like doing it for a couple weeks, but this seems to work better for me. And as always, this will be uploaded to YouTube.